is Jeff King. I'm Andy Erickson. This is not another shooting show. We go to the show me state of Missouri, where a candidate for Senate, Democratic Senate candidate, went to a local shooting range to show what a great 2A supporter he is. And you know what? Maybe he is. I don't know. I don't care about that part. The interesting part of the story, though, was that they were shooting an AR-15 at Steele at like 10 yards or less. I don't know what it was. That was the interesting part. And a reporter who was there covering it by the name of Ryan Gamboa was injured after a bullet fragment from one of the bullets struck his arm. A Marine Corps veteran who was shooting an AR-15 at the time wrapped his wound with gauze. So, I mean, it was probably like anybody who's ever gotten fragged before.
Yeah.
Sometimes they bleed a little, sometimes they bleed a lot.
Right. What's the worst frag you've seen at a match?
I've never seen a bad one. The worst one I've heard of was the teenager from your club. She was telling me about one. What's her first name?
Oh.
I'm blanking on her name.
Oh, God. When you put on the spot. God,
she's from your club. Reese. I have an excuse. Reese she was at a steel challenge just loading magazines, and all of a sudden she has like a frisbee of copper go just frisbee into her arm, and they had to like surgically remove it. Yeah, because it was gone, like it was inside. You know, I don't know if it was like surgery, but they had to like cut it out. You know. That's the worst I've ever heard of. I saw a guy on Instagram had a piece hit him just below his eye, like on his cheek, and it was in pretty good, but he actually took a video of him like popping the zit, basically, getting it out. It was kind of gnarly. Worst I've seen in person, it was a case of steel being too close, and somebody was shooting FMJ at one of the early cop matches at my club, and this young kid who was ROing the stage, he took a piece of frag in the face, and he was just bleeding everywhere. And finally I said, here, let me give you a Band-Aid so you can stop worrying about your bleeding face and watch shooters. And that was probably the worst I ever saw. How about you?
There was another woman at our club that shot years and years and years ago. She took frag to the face that actually like embedded itself. Like, I can't remember if she was gonna have surgery, but like it was like embedded, like the wound healed over it, like it was in her cheek.
Damn.
And she showed me the X-ray on her phone, and she was like, they're not sure if they want to do the surgery or not, because it's like kind of upper cheek, so it's like kind of near the eye, so they're not really sure if it's worth like going through the effort of or something. Like,
because sometimes surgery causes more damage than
right. Because there's a lot of well, not a lot, but I've heard of stories where people are like, yeah, they have a bullet in them. There's no reason to go in and get it. Like, didn't hit anything. Let it be.
Oh, there's a lot of people with some birdshot in them. You know, they got peppered years ago, and they got most of it out. But like this little BB, it's in a spot where it's not hurting nothing, and getting it out would cause more damage than they'd have to cause more trauma than the little piece of shot did when it went in. So they just don't.
So that was the worst one. I can't remember if I saw it or not. I feel like I did see her, but it wasn't like, you know, you always imagine like a gunshot wound's going to, or like a piercing wound's going to be like this giant, like, oh my God. And it's kind of like, nope, little holes there, and there's a line of blood coming down her cheek, and that was it. That was the full extent of it.
I got fragged pretty bad one. It didn't bleed, but it hurt like a son of a bitch. It was at I think it was the Three Gun Nation Regional in Minnesota at Forest Lake. That was 2017. They shoot pipes there a lot with shotguns. And the pipes, it's a great target because like it'll be like a steel cylinder about 4 inches in diameter or so.
Okay.
And it's a cool target because you got to square it up. You know, because if you're a little off to the side, it just sort of, the shot glances off of it and some of them are pretty heavy, and if you don't square it up, it's not going over. Well, a piece of shot bounced off one of those and hit me right under the lip, like whatever that little groove between your lip and your chin is, you know, like top of the chin, hit right there, and it fucking hurt, like a lot. It didn't. I looked at one of the guys in my squad. I'm like, "Am I bleeding?" No. Would you take a piece? Yeah, and it fucking hurts. And it's probably why it hurts, because my skin didn't break. It actually just absorbed all of it, and I got to feel all of it instead of it cutting and damaging nerves or something. I don't know how it works, but anyway. Yeah, so don't shoot ARs at steel at 10 yards. It's bad. Bad. The article from foxnews.com is kind of stupid because it's all just Twitter quotes put into an article. Like, this is not a news story. It's like a shitty blog post like I used to have to write for the radio station when I worked there. And some of the comments they took were kind of dumb. Like, you could have killed somebody today, you freaking moron. Okay. What kind of brain-dead idiot shoots steel inside 10 yards with a rifle? Well, you don't have to be a brain-dead idiot. It's called ignorance. It happens. When I first bought my first AR-15, I didn't know that. Like, yeah. I mean, when I was in hunter safety, we were taught that any hard, flat surface, like a rock or steel, should never be shot at, ever.
Yep. I remember having that when my hunter safety. That was a big one.
Because ricochets. And, like, that's not a thing that really happens. Bullets just sort of disintegrate when they hit stuff. If you're too close to it, pieces of that bullet can come back and get you. And the one big exception is, of course, the famous 50 cal video where he shoots a plate at closer range than should have, and the bullet comes back and takes his ear pro off his head.
Yep.
You know, but I still don't think that was whole bullet. That was like a hunk of lead that came back. But anyway, yeah, I don't want to shoot a rifle at 10 yards. Okay. Sometimes a gun is just not for you. Is it, Jeff?
Yeah. I mean, if it can, it's like a glove or a shoe. You got to make sure it fits you. There was an RCCW post about a guy that he's asking, how do I adapt a thumbs forward grip to micro pistols so you don't blow your support thumb off?
Is it really a thumbs forward grip? Not to derail you, but
nah. I mean, his is, but I mean, I can see, because I think mine's a little more thumbs forward. My thumbs are just like sitting on the frame, so like it's not necessarily they're forward; they're just big. I don't know, but this guy, for some reason, went out and bought one of these without holding it first. I guess I don't know. Like it, like
from the base of his thumb, like where his. Okay, not the two bones that make up your thumb, like including the other bone at the base, you know, whatever that metacarpal, is that what that's called? Let's go with that. That bone and the two other bones of his thumb are actually longer than the pistol slide from front to back by about his thumbnail.
Yep.
So he's got big hands, and that is a pretty little gun.
It's a little gun, and he got long ass thumbs, and he in another comment he says he's like 6'7", so he not a small boy, and so I'm sitting here going, why did you buy this?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
there are some guns that just do not fit people, and and we need to understand that. I mean, and sometimes guns may fit you and still not be good for you. I'm looking at you, pink J-frame revolver that every little lady's been recommended by a FUD behind the gun counter.
Yeah.
And because, you know, things don't work for me, I can't shoot SBRs. I think they're the dumbest thing on the planet because they're super uncomfortable and they're too compact for me. I don't find joy in them. I've sold every one that I've had. They're just unpleasant guns.
Have you ever shot one with a full-length stock though?
Yes.
Were they all braced pistols?
No. I had an MP5 clone with the classic like the plastic stock for it.
Okay.
And it just I was so jammed up on it
because there's not enough. Your arms are so long that you're basically like almost hugging yourself with the gun in hand.
Exactly. So yeah, my like left support hand on the forearm or the foregrip is like bent at a really annoying angle, so it actually kind of hurts to hold for a long time.
Both your elbows are touching your torso in order to aim the gun.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now that makes more sense.
Yeah. So that's why people are like, "Oh, dude, you should SBR this." I'm like, "Nope, never going to." A 16-inch rifle for me is perfectly fine.
You could get like because my AR pistol is at 12.5. You know, it's shorter, but it isn't 8 inches or 6 inches or whatever, like the really short ones.
And most of the SBRs I deal with are either the dumb pistol brace, like 5-inch ARs, or they've been submachine gun semi-autos. So like MP5, stuff like that, which have 5, 6, 7-inch barrels. So they're just big pistol barrels anyways. So figuring out either A, does a gun work for you? Some guns just won't work for you. If you got little hands, don't buy a Desert Eagle. I'm just going to throw that out there. Probably not the gun for you.
Speaking of Desert Eagles, real quick, I just cross-posted from the USPSA sub to our Reddit a dude shooting USPSA with a Desert Eagle.
I can't remember if that one's the Humble Marksman or if he was doing another video, but yeah, this
is not the Humble Marksman because I think Dave Blanton is much taller and not as luscious and juicy as this guy is. But
but yeah, it's
he reloads a pistol like you too, though.
Hell yeah! But like, learn to find the gun that fits you best, or adapt to the gun you're dealing with. So like with this dude with his itty bitty gun with big hands, I told him learn to shoot one-handed.
Yeah, I think that's a viable gun, one-handed. Like, you could carry an LCP, but you could only shoot it one-handed. Like, honestly, I can only shoot an LCP one-handed. Those things are freaking tiny.
Yeah, my dad has one. We still have the original box of ammo for it because it's such a miserable gun that we refuse to shoot it.
Yeah, it's not fun.
But yeah, and there are, I mean, decades of one-handed only pistol shooting that was deemed adequate. The modern two-handed firing grip is quite modern, like late 80s, I think, or mid 80s.
Yeah. I think it was developed by the IPSC USPSA dudes back in the day. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I could. I mean, I could say it, but yeah,
everybody else was carrying revolvers, so
right. And so it's like, if you are going to carry one of these guns, and there are people. I mean, Mason Lane shot one-handed for like half of. Didn't he shoot a Nationals?
Yeah, and he was still like in the top 20.
Right.
So it's he beat a lot of people one-handed.
So yeah, it takes some extra training, but like this is a 380, so you don't got to fight the recoil that much, and it's a pocket pistol. So except you're not taking bullseye groupings at 25 yards. You're trying to hit a man-sized target within 10 yards,
or honestly probably less.
Right.
I at my permit class last weekend, I was actually talking about we're at 5 yards. And when you're outside, 5 yards looks really close. But 15 feet in a room that's 13 by 11 is far. So it's kind of relative. I was like, this is 15 feet. And you guys this was towards the end of the shooting portion, and I'm making them go. I make my class shoot doubles at 7 and 5 yards. And it's the first time a lot of these people have done that. And I said, okay, did all your bullets hit the target? And they're all like, yeah. I mean, for having never done it and they're shooting 20 rounds of it, they're just getting exposed to it. They're not really training it. They're just being shown, here's a way to shoot this gun. Yep. And people are kind of amazed, like, oh. And you can watch them throughout the 10 rounds, like, they'll figure it out. And then the last thing I have them do is mag dump at 3 yards. And you'll see them like struggle at first, and then they find the rhythm, and then it just goes.
Yep.
If you do that one-handed, you can do that.
Yeah, and with just a little practice, a little dry fire, a guy local to me hurt his hand and shot one-handed, and he was still doing, really well. So, especially considering he was only shooting one-handed. So, again, adapt to the equipment that you have. It's kind of, if you're a lefty, guess what? Most rifles aren't going to be for you, and you're going to have to
No, all rifle. What kind of rifles? What are you talking about? What kind of rifle are you talking about, Jeff?
That aren't for you?
Well, because I'm of the firm belief that the traditional right-handed bolt-action rifle is actually made for left-handed people. No one knows it.
I don't disagree, but I was thinking of an AK-47 with a reciprocating bolt handle.
Also made for lefties because it's right in front of me and I can run it with my left hand.
Okay.
Right hand. Sorry, right hand.
I just see a reciprocating bolt very close to my face, and makes me...
As long as there's not a suppressor kicking gas back, I'm fine.
Okay.
The fact that stuff's flying out there, I've shot shotguns left-handed. My semi-auto shotgun is a right-handed shotgun. And if you get a left-handed Benelli semi-auto, it's kicking the shells to the left, but the trigger and everything else and the bolt catch is still right-handed. So, because they didn't produce left-handed trigger groups for them.
Interesting.
I am of the firm belief, because, AR-15s have a charging handle, and that was actually made sort of the opposite of the M1 and M14. The charging handle was on the right side of the gun because I got to hold it up with my left hand because I'm a 5'8", 135-pound soldier in World War II holding this 12-pound rifle. So I can't hold it with my firing hand and run the charging handle, or operating rod, I guess is what it's called. So the AR is the first gun that actually, before ambi charging handles, only the righties could reach up with their support hand and do that. And as a lefty, I was very held back by that. So I had to get ambi charging handles as soon as possible because I charge it with my right hand. I run every bolt, every gun I do, the bolt gets, every long gun, the bolt gets run by my right hand as a lefty.
Yeah.
So there's a tangent for you.
Yeah.
I don't want a left-handed rifle. They look dumb.
Well, and that's kind of what Ian from Forgotten Weapons says, because he's also left-handed, and he can run an M1 Garand very it's crazy watching him because, like you said, he's holding is it the wrist or whatever. He's holding the grip portion of the M1 Garand and doing all the other stuff with his right hand, and so he's
all those controls are on and the charging handle's over there.
Yeah, it's all right there, so it's not a problem. Versus when you're right-handed, you continue to hold.
You basically have to take the rifle down.
Yeah, yep. So he was the first person to help me to understand that left-handed is not always a problem. I believe
just handguns.
Have you shot bullpup weapons?
I think I shot a bullpup one time.
Because I think he said that one sucks just because the ejection is literally in the back of the gun, so it's hitting you in the cheek.
Oh, then that would actually be a problem. Yes. The only time shooting ARs bugs me is when they're suppressed. So my next suppressor that will go on an AR for more than I will put my suppressor on my 6mm arc upper, but that's basically for hunting. So. Yep. I'll take that one shot of gas in the face, but someday I'm going to buy a suppressor that is basically for ARs, and it's going to be a flow through, and I'm not going to taste every shot anymore. But as far back to pistols and the original topic of okay, here's how you do the thing with a pistol, going for 90% of people, I've been fascinated. This is going to sound really weird. People's hands kind of fascinate me. Because I've taught a lot of people how to shoot in the last almost 9 years now. And especially women, the average woman's hand is not that much smaller than the average man's hand. Well, my wife's hands are tiny. Okay, yeah, sure. But I said the average woman's hand is not super small. It's just slightly smaller than the average man's hand. And I've had plenty of women in class who had hands bigger than me, and they weren't even a bigger person than me. You know, they're an average 5'7" woman, maybe a little taller than average for a woman, but she's got these giant hands, you know? Some people's hands will have like a freakishly long bone. I had a woman in my intro class last weekend, like the first bone out from the, not the fingertip bone, but the whatever, the proximal phalange. I don't know what the fuck it is. Basically the long bone of the finger, the first bone of the finger going out, that bone in her hand was almost as long as the first two bones of my finger. It was crazy. She had the strangest shaped hand I'd ever seen. And she was a fairly petite gal, and her hands weren't big except that bone was like crazy long. So I basically had to teach her a completely different grip than everybody else because it was just the kinesiology just was not working the same. So she had to sort of grab it a little differently. It was really kind of interesting. Yep. But the big thing is there just has to be room on the gun for your hands. Now, there's a trade-off with a smaller carry gun. You're going to have less. Right. If it's like a Hellcat or a P365 or whatever.
Right. And acknowledging that difference for each person, because I carry a 5-inch full-size gun with no problem because I'm a giant. I've never had a problem with it. And people are like, how am I going to conceal this? And I'm sitting there going, it's not that fucking hard. And then I'm like, well, I am 3 of them, so maybe it's a little harder for them. But yeah, and to Andy's point, I do the same thing when I kickbox with people. People are like, oh, what's the technique? I'm like, well, this is the result I want. Let's figure out how you get to that result.
Yeah, because people's bodies are different.
Yeah. Yeah, some people are super flexible. Some people aren't. Some people are super athletic. Some people aren't. And so you're just like, well, we'll figure out how you get there.
One of the most genius things I've ever seen on the internet for learning about how to grip a pistol was actually just earlier this year. Firepower United posted this video of, do you remember that video? It was like, I think it was a PM7. Is that an H&K?
Yep.
Okay. So it's sort of an odd-shaped gun, and it sort of makes you grip it low, and he's gripping it low, like modern grip, but his support hand is low on the gun.
Yep.
And he was specifically talking about, this is wrong according to modern whatever teaching philosophy, and then he's shooting it, and it's behaving just the same. And his whole point was, as long as you grip it hard, it doesn't really matter where your support hand is, really.
Yep.
You just have to squeeze it hard. So, and from that moment on, I've gotten way less picky about where people's support hand is, as long as they're squeezing hard.
Yeah, you know? And I'm similar. As long as the gun is doing what you want it to do, because even Ben has I feel like Ben's kind of changed his teaching to more like, hey, as long as the dot comes back to where you want it, rather than trying to fight. Because I remember being taught, like, grip the shit out of that gun with your support hand to, like, prevent it from moving. And now he's kind of like, yeah, let the dot, as long as the dot comes back to where you want it to be, you're good.
Yeah. As long as it's returning, do whatever you want. As long as it works. But I did have a guy in a pistol skills class once who he insisted on putting his finger in front of the trigger guard with his support hand. And
Martin.
He just kept struggling. Martin did that?
Yeah.
Does he still do it?
No, because he did it at Iowa section like six years ago or something like that, and then driving home from Des Moines to Rapid City or whatever,
North Dakota,
they made him dry fire in the back seat of the truck and fix his grip.
And now he kicks all their asses. That's actually kind of funny.
Yep.
But no, he just insisted on having his finger in front of the trigger guard, and he was on the struggle bus the whole time. And I'm like, okay, are you ready to do it my way now? Okay. And he took his hand off, and I said, it probably helped because he was used to this old thing, and now I made him do something completely different, and it feels weird. So he's actually able to consciously do it easier. Yep. And I just said, just squeeze hard with that hand. And and I come back a little later. I'm like, so how is it? He's like, yeah, you're right. It was that.
And,
yeah.
And as a teaching moment, there's 2 lessons here. One, sometimes you just have to abandon people.
Yeah.
If someone is going to fight you, abandon them. Be like, you know what, dude? Okay, you showed up to a class to get taught, and you don't want to get right. I do it every night. Like sometimes they're good students, but they're just not picking up what I'm throwing down, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe tonight isn't the thing, or maybe the way I'm explaining it isn't getting through. We're just going to move on from there. And sometimes you need to just break people and be like, oh, that's not working. Oh, well, maybe if we do the thing I told you to do, like, here, let's try this. And like you said, if it doesn't work, we can go back, but try mine for a second. And then they're like, oh, yeah. And you're like, there's a reason I'm the teacher and you paid money to be here. So stop fighting me.
Yeah. I had a gal who had gone to, it was Front Sight. Gun Sight was the Jeff Cooper site. Yeah, Front Sight was the one that's now Prairie Fire. She had a membership there and went there every year for her annual class and had this stupid push-pull Weaver grip with her 1911. And as soon as she has to shoot more than one single shot, she is struggling like a motherfucker. And it was hilarious. But I was told up front, like, well, she's been trained different. I'm like, cool. This is how I teach it.
Yep.
So, I mean, you do what you want, but this is going to suck later for you. And it did. And it was so funny trying to watch her shoot doubles with that grip. Like, the second shot often went into the dirt, like way below the target. It was so funny. I loved it so much.
Oh, yeah. I do the sometimes I'll have people from other gyms come to my gym and other styles, and I'm like, I don't give a shit about what your style, like, to use your examples, like, for me, sparring is like where we test your shit. Like, does it work? For shooting, it's matches. Like, if your shooting grip stuff works, it should work in a match. And for me, it's a sparring floor. So I've had dudes come like, I have a black belt in Kung Fu. I've been doing it for 4 years, and I'm like, okay, cool, let's fight. Like, and then they like try to do some dumb shit, and I kick them in the leg, and they're like, they're like, we don't do leg kicks. I go, well, I just did. So deal with it. Like, I'm here to, we're here to fight. Like, I didn't put no traditional rules here. Like, don't kick me in the knee. Don't punch me in the throat. Don't try to gouge my eyes. Don't kick me in the nuts. That's kind of the entire,
do whatever.
Right. That's kind of the only rule set. Like, I was like, let's fight. And they learn very quickly that I just start like, I've had coaches bring their students in and I just start teaching them, and I'm like, do this, stop doing that, that's dumb, that's bullshit. And
how often does it hurt someone's feelings when you say that? I mean, are you actually that blunt, or
I can be, sometimes I'm a little blunt, but most of the time I'm like, hey, try this, because when we need to do this because of our rule set. Like, within our rule set, you need to be doing this, and I try to keep it like semi respectful, but what I'm really saying is that's dumb and stop doing it.
Yeah, I can't think of any of the ways I figured out to politely say that's really dumb, stop it. I can't think of any of them at the moment.
I really like that. Hey, let's try it my way, and because
let's
you have a timer.
This.
right. Because you have a timer, you're like, hey, let's try your method on a timer. Okay, cool. And now let's try my method on a timer, and let's give it the old college try.
Let's try this too. Patreon.com/Not Another Shooting Show. Just $3.57 a month, and you get a whole second episode. Not just 10 minutes at the beginning. No, we charge you 3.5 times more, but you're getting 4 times more show every single month. Patreon.com/Not Another Shooting Show. Subscribe, and you can hear the rest of this episode for just $3.57 a month.